All right. It says we are recording at the moment. Welcome to, I don't know, what is this? Is this shiftless? Is this?
We're coming to you remote.
We're coming to you remote at the beautiful Isle du Bois State Park. Do you want to give us a weather update, Bradford?
It's a little toasty, probably 88 maybe, 45 to 50% humidity if I had to just throw a guess at it. Sun setting, we've got about, maybe an hour more of daylight. It's kind of nice, twilight hours, shadows are getting long. It's a good place to lick your wounds.
So we're going straight into it.
Whatever.
All right. Today's topic, we're coming to you from State Park, which is day 3.
Rat.
Isle du Bois State Park is not along the rat route.
No, it's not.
So, elephant in the room, I guess we'll hand it off to Brad and give us the summary of why you're no longer on the rat, and then we'll dig into that a little bit deeper.
Well, you make plans, and then plans make you. So I set off with the best intentions. I had a great first day. We did 137, almost 138 miles. Felt good. Got a good night's sleep despite all the circumstances. Woke up the next morning and I felt good. Legs were noticeably tired, as to be expected. They never opened up. My heart rate would never go up. I felt like I was doing decent efforts, but I just had no power. My heart rate, we would be climbing in the heat, and I would look down and my heart rate would be like 112. And it was like that all day. It felt like I was in the wrong gear, just grinding the whole time. Like nothing was ever easy except for downhills. So we called it short. Day 2, we stopped at Bonham. We were there fairly early, although late for the pace we had anticipated. I think we averaged maybe 10 miles an hour. A group of our friends, Caleb and my friends, showed up to ride with us from Paris. They were going to ride all the way with us to Cartwright, and they were patient and waited with me. It was strange because I felt physically, other than my heart rate just wouldn't go up. I couldn't put any power on the pedals despite everything I tried. So we stopped in Bonham. Caleb had a very good idea and said, hey, what you need is a good night's rest, get a little hard reset, get some AC, get some good food, hydrate, and wake up tomorrow and see what happens. So that's what we did. We were lights out. 8 plans to be rolling at 6-ish. I don't think we rolled until 7, actually, because by the time we dicked around with our bikes, we got downstairs and it was 6 and the breakfast was open. So we're like, instead of stopping somewhere, let's just eat breakfast here. We ate breakfast there. It was okay. They did have a nifty pancake machine, which I've never seen before. It was a self-contained unit about the size of an old school microwave. You just push a button, tell it how many pancakes you want, and it dropped them on a conveyor that slowly rolled, and it cooked them top and bottom, and then it dropped onto your plate. Pretty cool.
That's niftier than the waffle makers at most of them.
Yeah. So it was pretty cool. So we rolled out today, and I thought, I think I'm going to be okay. I still felt underpowered, and I just attributed that to tired legs, which was expected.
I think the camera pooped out on us. There we go.
Kept trudging on, and I just settled into the same thing. My heart rate would not go up. I think my average heart rate today was like 116, which is normally higher. Even on an intentionally low heart rate ride, it's hard for me to keep my heart rate that low, like difficult. We talked about zone 1 and stuff.
When you're riding zone 2, where do you typically try to hover around?
My average usually ends up being like high 120s or maybe even low 130s.
Okay.
And I don't know what my average was today. I'd have to look, but I think I said my average was 16.
Yeah.
And that's over 50 miles. It should have been 135, especially with the heat. And the tough terrain, some of it was tough. It wasn't all tough today. Not on the portion we were on. It was hilly, though, and the hills were a blessing. because you get to slow down and climb, or stand up and climb, and then you get a little reprieve on the backside. But my heart rate just would not go up. Caleb had sworn to ride with me, and I thought, I'm holding you back. We had to have a tough conversation. I was like, dude, it doesn't make any sense. I'm just digging a hole. If we pushed on to wherever tonight and I get some sleep, I'm still going to be in the same hole tomorrow. Who knows? Maybe I'll wake up tomorrow and feel great, but I don't think so. Riding 70 miles and just grinding the whole time, just feeling like it was tough the whole day, even though it wasn't and it shouldn't have been, put me way far behind. And I think it was a culmination of day one, like you and I discussed. I may have been undernourished and dehydrated.
So the heart rate lower than you were wanting, but you're also saying that you're not feeling the power.
Yeah.
That you're laying down power at all. Yeah. Is this like noodle legs, like you're worn out, or what do you mean by not getting that sense of power?
It felt like I was riding through sand, if that makes sense. It was just harder to turn over the pedals than it should have been. And I just couldn't put down enough power to get on top of my gear. I would gear down, and then I'd be okay for a little bit, and then it would be the same thing. I would put in a little effort to get on top of my gear, and it would just bog back down. I don't know how to explain it better than that.
So were you feeling winded and tired, or you it just didn't feel right going down the road?
Didn't feel right. Normally when you ride that far and you stop, you're like, you're catching your breath. I couldn't even get to that point. I was fatigued, but I wasn't exhausted. It was just a slow burn. It's not the way it should have been.
Overheated during the...
Not at all.
Check out the deer over there on the other side of that box. Oh, deer.
Hey, don't feed the deer.
Oh, there's another one. We're not going to feed the deer.
They're so tame here. If you want to see deer, this is the park to come to locally.
So more to paint the picture for anyone that's listening or potentially watching. We'll see how this new technology works out for us. A regular everyday ride for Brad. You did your 300 miler a month ago, right?
Yeah, like a month ago.
And a month before that, you did your hut to hut. How many miles total was that, and how many days?
It was a little over 170 miles total, something like that.
And how much climbing?
It wasn't crazy.
How much climbing, though?
Shit, I can't even remember. 20,000 feet, something like that.
Okay.
No.
How many days was that one?
5 days.
So that was 5 days in a row.
Yeah.
Pretty good effort.
But we rode before, too, so I rode 6 days in a row. And the day before, we rode 18 miles and at 1,400 feet of climbing. It was no slouch. That was all single track and gravel. I know some substantial climbs, a lot of sustained effort. And then my 300 miler, I did that solo. Did it on that same bike, loaded out exactly the same just to test all my gear and my legs and my navigation and my tracking. I did it with more gear because I carried a stove and water filtration, even though I didn't use it. And I felt as good as I did on day one of this trip on day 3 of that trip. I had no issues. It was tough, don't get me wrong. Day 2 was tough because it was into the wind and uphill almost the whole way. It got warm, but I was fine. Maybe I was underprepared. It's very possible. But I came into this feeling like I had done everything the right way. I don't have a coach or go by any kind of program. I was just going by what I know and what I've always done. I came in at what I thought was a good weight. I've been doing all the right things, eating right. I felt like I did everything proper. But
did you change up anything the week prior to this ride as opposed to what you've been doing pretty much week in and week out for the past 12 to 18 months or however long you've been kind of working on a focused approach?
Quit drinking whiskey and I quit beer.
Fairly recently? Well, that could actually be part of it.
I was trying to be a good boy. I was trying to put my best foot forward.
No, I get that.
I was trying to be a good boy.
Okay. But your body was also used to processing
Maybe even leading up to that, I wasn't
drinking.
I toned down my consumption of alcohol tremendously. 4 or 5 days prior to us leaving, we had a dinner the weekend before. So Thursday, I did not take any alcohol with me, did not consume any alcohol while I was there. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And I got home on Sunday and I had one small pour of whiskey, and that was all I had until I had 2 beers the night we got to Paris. That's not true, because Friday night I had a beer at the restaurant and a beer before bed, but I had toned it down a lot.
I mean, that could have played a factor, not maybe from the alcohol processing, but maybe it was just did you make up the difference calorie wise somewhere else? I'm not saying that you were, but a couple beers is a couple hundred calories.
In fact, probably in the last 2 weeks leading up to this, I lost almost 10 pounds.
Oh, that's not a good sign.
I felt good about it.
I understand that.
I don't know. So
I think we might be getting into some potential issues. I'm sure, 99% of the people that are listening to this or watching this, they're all going to have opinions as well.
Yeah.
Maybe 1 or 2 of them will actually really mean anything.
Look, let's just get it out there. I did everything wrong. That was totally my fault.
I'll be honest with you. This is where I am struggling myself, because I don't think I've ever known anyone that actually did do a better job of getting ready. Are there people that are their day in, day out training regimen, they can go out and do the rat?
Yeah.
It's hard. There's no doubt it's hard. It's not automatic.
No, and I didn't anticipate it being easy, And that being said, I don't think it was any harder than I thought it was going to be, Of course, I only saw a third of the course. I mean, I did all the things too. I carry sea salt with me. I put salt in all my bottles, make sure I'm keeping my salt content high. Ran Tailwind for the first, I started today with Tailwind in all 4 of my bottles after I left one of my bottles at the gas station yesterday. And then I didn't feel any different than I did on my 300-mile trip. Just left scratching my head. I just recently, maybe in the last year and a half, 2 years, started running a heart rate monitor again and tracking my heart rate and looking at it. I've never seen my heart rate do what it did over the past 2 days.
So let's take it from a slightly different approach. If by chance you had forgotten your heart rate monitor and you were just pedaling along, not looking at your heart rate at all,
I still would have known something was wrong, because I wouldn't have had any power. And then I would have just said, I'm tired, which is probably what it all calculates up to. It's probably safe to say that I was probably fatigued, dehydrated, malnourished. 140 miles on the first day was a big dig. This is the biggest day I've done all year. I don't know. It would be easier to digest if it was just, I forgot to do, or forgot to take, or forgot to, fuel this way, or I changed my powder at the last minute, but there's no smoking gun.
I would definitely agree that there is no smoking gun. There's nothing. That's it right there. This will fix it in one shot. You might have touched on it. It's a combination of just everything. Almost a perfect storm sort of thing. I'm going to lean into it because it proves itself all the time. Weather is always a factor. No, this wasn't triple digit riding, but it's still 90 degrees plus.
Dude, it was gorgeous.
In October.
Here's the thing you're forgetting. It could have been 90 degrees and still. The only time I got hot is when we had a tailwind. It's a double-edged sword because you got the wind pushing you, which is great, but you're in stagnant air. This is the only time when I was like, whoo, it warmed up. But then for the most part, you got a crosswind or you've got a headwind, and those are blessings. You only realize how hot it is when you stop or when you get into a tailwind situation. So it wasn't, I wouldn't even say it was miserable. I've made it a conscious effort. But I do have to say that even after yesterday, now I know this is just stupid computer talking, putting phony numbers to things, but I noticed that my Garmin said my heat acclimation was 44%, which doesn't make any sense because it was higher than that before I started the ride. I spent easily 12 hours in the daylight on Saturday and 8 hours in the sun on Sunday. So it should have been 70%. I thoroughly enjoyed the course. I got to witness quite a few strange things that, people say you're going to see weird things when you ride across Texas. And you do. I saw quite a few things that were strange. Like entire catfish carcass in the middle of a road in the middle of nowhere. There couldn't have been a body of water 10 miles from where we were. And it wasn't just a little catfish. It was a 2-foot head attached, complete skeletal system, and the tail fin. Was it just in the road? Strange. Saw a ultralight driving down the road.
Were the wings on it, or
No. This is one of the parachute ones.
what
are those called?
Paraglider.
So that's what it was. It was this guy sitting in this, I guess it's like a 3-wheel go-kart, and it's got a big fan
Yeah.
right behind him. He's just-
Okay. When you said no parachute earlier, I thought,
Yeah.
well, I don't think ultralight flyers fly with parachutes on. You meant
Yeah.
Okay,
Paraglider,
Okay,
yeah.
now I better understand.
Yeah. I was like, what the hell is going on around here? It was wild. And I learned quite possibly the best trick for deterring dogs. Although we had no problems with dogs, even without this trick. One of the guys we were riding with had a taser. When the dogs would come out and get a little too close, he'd just hold it in the air and bzz, bzz, click it on. Not only would they stop dead in their tracks, they would retract. It was amazing to see. Not sure I'll be carrying one, but it's damn cool. I would have never thought of that. Had I not heard of it, but I wouldn't have believed it if I'd seen it.
Yeah. So you've actually witnessed it in action.
Multiple times. It was pretty entertaining because it was immediate. But most of the dogs that we encountered, if you're just sweet to them, you say, hey, buddy, they're just like, oh, okay. That thing I told Justin, because Justin doesn't do back roads riding like this. And he was like, oh, my God, let's go, dogs. And I said, hey, buddy, just keep the same pace. If you accelerate, they think you want to play chase. They're going to chase you. Just keep your same pace and talk sweet to them. And that's what we did. We didn't have any aggressive dogs at all. But we had one dog that followed us for quite some time, but that was it. Not even yipping or anything. So I learned the important lesson of lidocaine. That stuff works.
Do go on.
Yeah.
Tell us more. Saddle sores.
I
And you never get saddle sores,
never
Bradford.
get saddle sores. I will tell you, after my 300 that I did, my undercarriage was a little delicate, but it wasn't like it has been on this trip. I did not anticipate saddle sores in that fashion, and lidocaine will definitely be in my next extended bikepacking trip for sure.
So the lidocaine, that's basically just pain relief, though, right? It doesn't actually fix anything, or
It's medicated, but it's also pain relief as well.
Okay.
I don't know if there's a difference because this one did say lidocaine, and it's almost like it was in a lotion bottle. It's a squeeze bottle, and it had a flat cap with one little hole in it, so you just squeeze out a small amount.
Do you have any theories on what may have made saddle sores be part of the equation this time around, since you've never dealt with them before?
So this is a new saddle. I found that saddle on the side of the road on another ride. It's a WTB Volt. It was brand new, but it did get rained on. The cover has started to peel from the underside, but that's also the same saddle that I did my 300 miler on. It's the same saddle that I've had on my other bikes.
But that specific saddle was on your 300 miler?
Mhm.
Okay, just making sure we're,
Yeah.
we're on the same page.
The other one had torn up so much that the cover was peeling off. I had a titanium railed something saddle that I had bought off of somebody that was brand new, and I was trying that out. I was literally thinking, man, I've got to find another saddle before Race Across Texas. That day or the next day, we were riding home on a ramble, and there was that saddle sitting on the side of the road in Teasley. You could tell it had never been clamped onto a bike or anything. I immediately was like, I know what that is. When we rode by in the rain,
That's just so
I
crazy.
picked it up.
So it's exactly the saddle you were looking for, just laying in the middle of the road, unused.
If you ask the universe provides. Sniff it.
I'm not getting that close. I don't even want to touch it.
I'm not a sweater. What you looking at?
I was just seeing
If it said made in China,
seeing if anything was out of shape or bulging or anything like that.
I had tapered my riding off so much.
Walk me through that. What did that look like?
The week leading up to the start, I rode every other day. I think I rode Wednesday, did not ride Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. Then I rode Sunday before I left Forestburg. Rode like 19 miles out there. Good ride, felt great. Then I did not ride on Monday. I rode on Tuesday. Caleb and I rode on Tuesday. Did a 19, 20-mile ride. Bike was loaded. I slept in the yard Monday night to test my tent and make sure I wasn't missing or forgetting something. When I go on a bike packing trip, instead of taking my stuff out of a box and putting it on my bike, I like to set it up, check it out, and then pack it up so I know everything's there.
All right. So walk me through this. Make sure that I'm remembering things correctly. So basically, the 2 weeks before you started on the rat, you were riding significantly less over
those 2 weeks. The Sunday 2 weeks before the start of the rat was my last big ride. And that's when we rode up here and rode all the horse trails and stuff and rode back. And it was like 65 miles or something. And I rode that bike.
during the course of those 2 weeks that you were riding based on hours. You still lost 10 pounds. Aside from drinking a little less, was there anything else you were doing? Were you trying to lose weight, or how did you lose 10 pounds?
I was just eating less because I wasn't riding as much. And I wasn't drinking. And when I don't drink, I don't have midnight snacks, handfuls of nuts and stuff at midnight. I know people say it and it sounds goofy, but I listen to my body. If I'm not hungry, I don't eat.
I understand.
And I've gotten to the point where I don't like to eat until I'm uncomfortable. It just means I ate too much, I don't feel bad about it today at Taco Casa. I wanted every bite of that. Felt a little miserable afterwards.
I've felt miserable.
my body knew exactly what to do with it.
Good before I go sleep in there tonight.
No, it wasn't an intentional effort, but
No, I get that, but you're starting to get onto some things that
I did everything wrong. It's okay.
well, wrong's not. I'm not trying to find wrong. I'm trying to find out what may have contributed to this.
Yeah.
And I don't. Doing it wrong is probably not the right way to look at it. But what you've been describing is starting to sound like a fatigue issue.
Yeah.
Just an overall fatigue, at least to me. And obviously, I'm not a professional in this field. I bet we'll hear from a coach or two.
Oh, yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what people that really know what they're talking about have to say about it. Let's go with a slightly different approach. We've been talking a lot about the riding every day for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Have you had any extended periods off the bike in the past year?
I don't think so.
Understood.
I mean, typically, like, if I don't ride 2 days a week, typically I ride probably 5 to 6 days a week. I'd have to look.
No, we don't have to go down to the minutia. I'm talking in general. All the training truisms of 20 and 30 years ago are being thrown out the window. Everything's starting over from scratch. But there's definitely a camp that is hardened on the off-season, do nothing is integral to the equation.
Oh, I know I don't recover properly. There's something to be said for that too. You know?
Understood. This is more of us thinking out loud in front of each other. The main thing is, I don't want you to beat yourself up. I don't want you to get caught up in, oh, I did this wrong. I don't think that's the case at all. I think, quite frankly, you were working as hard and as disciplined as anyone I've ever seen that was looking to do the rat. Ultimately, it's hard. That's why we have a 70% attrition rate. All the pieces have to line up for a successful run. Everything from weather to conditioning. I would not be surprised if something viral, a virus piece, is in the mix somewhere along. A lot of the fatigue you're talking about really rings true with the bug that's going around now. Mm-hmm. I just wouldn't be surprised if that's a part of the equation.
I feel fine.
Understood.
I mean, I don't.
It's just the fatigue thing that really gets me going. And I mean, prior to this attempt, you said the 140-mile day, that was your longest ride in how long?
Probably since Kanza. You know, I rode that weekend a month ago. I guess it was longer than a month, a little longer than a month ago.
About a month ago, and that was 300 miles in 3 days.
Yeah, but one day I rode 117 and one day I rode like 111. There's not much difference.
There isn't.
It's time on the saddle, and that was back-to-back days.
Back to back.
And I felt good every day. In fact, I rode on Monday after I got home on Sunday. And I think I rode on Tuesday, too.
I mean, were you feeling anything that seemed like fatigue or just out of the groove the last week or two?
No, because when you get fatigued, you get tired head, too. None of that. That's what's even more confusing. Because normally when you're run down, you can't make decisions. You're struggling to articulate. You're not making sense when you talk. You don't even want to talk. Those kind of things. It wasn't like that at all. Still had all my candor, all my wits about me. Everything seemed fine.
All right. We're going to take it down a slightly different path, but
go for it.
That might still be a little bit related. And I'm sure anyone that's listened to the last shiftless episode is going to go, well, what about your shifting? Mm-hmm. But I want to touch on one aspect of that before, because I do want to hear the details of the shifting sorted out and everything like that. But one thing, not sure how to say this.
Oh, just spit it
No,
out.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Where it makes sense.
Oh.
I'm not trying to not hurt your how this makes sense. When we were talking in the last shiftless episode, well, hell, the whole episode ended up being about your shifting issues, generally speaking.
Oh, sorry.
No. That's kind of my point.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen or heard you be so negative about anything for such an extent. Now, don't get me wrong. Caleb and I wanted to hear more, and we did talk about it.
Yeah.
And you were doing your best to, I think you did a fantastic job explaining the situation, and that's why we kept priding you for it. Mm-hmm. But you were negative, Brad, during that conversation more than I've ever seen you about anything.
Yeah, it was out of my control. That's what was irritating to me.
And I guess what I was trying to get at or ask, I get it, that was making you extremely uncomfortable at that point. That's, that's a time to start getting nervous about things like that. Maybe you weren't on your A game physically or mentally, and maybe that was feeding into a little bit more negative mindset than Brad Tippett. You're the one that usually chases me away from the negative. Let it go. Let's go.
Yeah. Well, I told you I didn't want to talk about it.
And we weren't milking it for you to be negative to say. It was like, what's going on here? Maybe we can help you solve it.
It all worked out.
Our dear's back. So tell us about it. What ended up, last I heard you were going to go grab a cassette and throw the cassette on yourself. What happened there?
I did all that, and my shifting was still doing the exact same thing. The one tool I do not own that I am planning on changing here very soon is a derailleur hanger alignment guide, or derailleur alignment guide. I suspected that my derailleur hanger was bent because it was doing it in the exact same position in the cassette. Then I started getting angry, which is another emotion that I don't visit very often.
Frustration was the word I was looking for.
It was 4:00 on Thursday, because it was Wednesday when we did the podcast, and my cassette was going to be in the next day, I think.
I think it was supposed to be in
That
Wednesday.
day. Yeah, so it was Wednesday. So I texted the owner and I said, "Hey, you still at the shop?" He said, "Yeah, but I gotta leave at 6. What's up? You still having problems?" "Yes, I'll be there." So I showed up and they double teamed my bike, cleaned up all the cable ends, double checked everything, checked the derailleur hanger again, located a couple of tiny things, and we had some conversations about stuff I was thinking. Bottom line is, they fixed it. And so I took it home and I had all my bags on it because I didn't want to take my bags off. I was scared that it would shift until I put my bag on there, my front loading, because there's a barrel adjuster that needs to be further down the cable, in my opinion. And when I redo the cables on it, that's what's going to happen. I didn't want that barrel adjuster to be affected by me putting my bag on or taking it off. So I didn't want to take it up there without bags on it. My bags were already on there anyways. So they went through it, shifted fine. I tested it before I took it home, shifted fine. I went on a ride the next day with Caleb, I think. I rode fine. And then 60 or 70 miles into day one, I started having, it wasn't ghost shifting that bad. It was just, I probably give it to cable stretch, even though my shop is really good about stretching derailleur cables, which I think is a super smart thing to do. Invariably, it came out of whack a little bit, but it wasn't shifting. So I gave it more time to settle out to where it got a little bit sloppier, just to let that cable tighten or slack off more. And I finally adjusted it. Yesterday, it wasn't near as bad. I made one little tweak. And then this morning when we were loading up, I had Caleb hold up to my seat because I couldn't find anywhere. You can't find anywhere to prop your bike up so you can work on it when you're by yourself. Tweaked the barrel, got it lined up, and it shifted perfect all day today. No issues. So it was just a little bit out of adjustment. But I have no equipment qualms. Tires were fine. I don't think anybody that I heard of had any tire issues.
Not that we've heard of.
I'm glad that I put those tires on instead of the Aspen STs, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which tires are on it?
The Mezcal 2.25s. I had thought about running those Aspen STs, but I think some of that rock would have made a lot of that thick rock feel even thicker. Unless there's a possibility I could have just floated on top of it. It's possible those tires could have been faster, but I don't know if they would have been as tough. It's a possibility I could have had a tire issue.
All right. So I'm still not quite following what the shifter fix was or was not. The cassette itself didn't fix it. Is that one?
No, the cassette was definitely part of the problem. I get that. But it was just a little out of alignment. Not the derailleur hanger. Not out of alignment, out of adjustment. The cable had just stretched. I mean, it's going to happen, And
I'm sorry, this is 12 speed, correct?
Yeah. So that's the problem. That's why it's out of my wheelhouse. And it's just because I haven't spent any time messing with it. There's a couple of key components on that system. Ratio technology. So it's got a gear that you have to install in the shifter, because that's an 11-speed shifter, because right now they don't make a 12-speed mechanical. So you can buy a 12-speed drop bar shifter that's hydraulic brake mechanical shifter, but I don't want to give up my Paul brakes, and I know that's kind of a hard-headed thing to do. In an ideal world, this thing would have the new T90 on it with drop bars, drop bar shifters and still be able to run mechanical brakes. But they don't make a drop bar shifter for it currently, 12 speed. I think it's going to be hydraulic brakes, mechanical shifting. So it's got the gear in it. We talked about the inline barrel adjuster, which I don't know if that's part of the kit or if that was an add-on that my shop just did. And then it had a barrel adjuster on the shifter, which was one of my failure points we talked about before. But what it has is this ramp on the back and a proprietary nut or washer, actually, that has a slot on one side so it can only sit on the derailleur a certain way. The problem is the only thing keeping that washer from turning is a piece of plastic. Over time, that washer would wear that plastic away a little bit. So now it spins. When you go to tighten it down, the washer wants to turn with that cable. More tension into the system as you tighten it. The only way to combat that is to run the barrel adjuster out so you're taking up some of that cable slack, and then over tighten it. You make sure you get a good clamp on the cable, but as you tighten it, you're pulling more tension on the cable. Then you've got to give some of that tension back through that barrel adjuster and adjust it back in. Normally when you adjust a derailleur, you pull all the slack, you tighten it down, and then you use the barrel adjuster to take up tension, right? You following me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's the only way I found to combat it. And that washer situation, bolt situation was not part of the problem. It was a problem initially, just because I don't think they realized that was what was going on when they were trying to make the initial adjustments. And then it became this chasing ghost kind of thing, which was fine because everything went through, you know.
Sure,
So,
sure.
and I knew derailleur pulleys, a new cassette, and new shifters.
So here's the important question. When are you going to ride your bike again?
What is tomorrow?
Tuesday.
Probably not Tuesday. I don't know. I may go for a little 1 hour spin tomorrow and see how I feel. Probably not on that bike, though. Might ride a different bike.
So that's a benefit of getting past this week. Now you can just grab and go whatever bike you want anytime.
Yeah.
I know you were spending as much time on this bike as was practical.
You got to practice what you... Hey, if you're going to do something serious on a bike, spend as much time as you can on that bike. Know every bit of it. Like, that's not just your body learning how to handle that bike and ride that bike. It's, hey, what are my problem points with this bike? Beat it up. See what's going to let you down when it really matters.
So all told, even though you didn't complete this year's rat, how many miles total did you end up with on the bike over 3 days?
Two 260, is that right?
Was there anything that came up short on the bike, or say, oh, this was a little bit off, here's something I might change next time with this bike?
I could have gambled and went lighter. There's easier ways to do it, I'm sure.
What's total? I don't think we ever talked about that. What was total weight on your bike for this trip?
So we weighed my bike when I took it to the shop for the final time with all my bags and everything on it. Water bottles, but they were not filled. And then I had my vault on there, but it was not filled with tailwind. Computer was on it, GPS tracker was on there, all my clothes. My final loadout, the way I rolled out less water, that is to say, was 50.4 pounds, something. It was like 50 pounds on the nuts.
All right, so if you throw fluids and your tailwind stash in there, probably
another. I was carrying 5 bottles, and it was just shy of a full gallon of water. Might have carried too much water the whole time, but water's my safety net. I'm not going to get caught without water. I don't do well without water. It felt heavy, but it didn't feel unnecessarily heavy. For carrying a camp system and clothes, I don't think it's terrible. Could be worse. I wonder how much Matt's rig weighs.
Oh, I have no idea. He rides this early, doesn't he?
He's got a cutthroat.
A cutthroat now. Okay.
Gigantic saddlebag. It almost looked like it was on a rack. It wasn't. Got a big, this wide and like this long. It's like a boot box size. And it's that real thick, rubbery, it was bright orange.
All right. So this is 7:04 p.m. Monday night.
Starting to feel amazing out here.
It is. It's starting to feel really good. Doug Schatz and Sedge Downing, pulled off at, I think, Holiday and went up the road to Wichita Falls to overnight at a hotel. Looks like they're in different hotels this time, but follow the same strategy. They are by far in the lead. Caleb, still going strong, is about to pull into Lindsay. So he went past Gainesville. He's probably going to the Lindsay Inn, is my guess.
Atta girl.
Matt is down in Denison. Looks like he's at the hotel in Denison.
Yeah.
He's chugging along nicely, nice steady pace. Looks like Jay Green stopped at the Valero in Colbert, Oklahoma. That's where Jay Green is presently. Rich and Nathan, like they both finished there. Nathan might still be pedaling. I don't know exactly where he lives, but his plot does not look like a neighborhood. They have both finished their mini rats and are at home or near it, it appears. Doug and Sedge are really doing a good job. They both look really strong. Be interesting to see how that sorts out over the next couple days. Caleb is riding his ride at the moment.
Yes.
It'll be interesting to hear his follow-ups on this. His plan is to still go for the whole thing. Is that correct?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Do you know what his transportation situation is? Is his wife coming out to pick him up?
That's the plan.
Understood. So all of a sudden, you've got a bunch of bonus time.
Oh, that's not the way my wife sees it, I can guarantee you. That's one of the reasons I wanted to camp tonight. I tried to take care of most of my honeydews before I left town, even though I claimed that week I was going to do as little as possible. Definitely going to go home and shower and sleep in my bed.
Shower.
Not before I sleep in my tent again.
Should we record an official shiftless episode Wednesday morning, or should we treat this as our episode for this week?
Why don't we do an official shiftless episode in the morning?
Wednesday morning?
No, tomorrow morning.
Possibly.
What's your plan?
I don't have a plan.
We can talk about this off camera.
We could potentially do that.
Yeah, I think that could work.
Okay.
If we had coffee.
I've got Starbucks Vias and a induction burner.
Look at you.
Will that work?
God, Taco Casa, and then you bring out coffee?
All right, Bradford. Hey, we're coming up on almost dead on an hour here.
Perfect.
I think that's a good little mix. Do we do our traditional send-off or save that for the next episode?
It doesn't matter. They're going to ride their bikes anyways, right?
Well, tell them what to do.
Go ride your bike.